Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. What a day in the esports world it was yesterday. FormaL, Sentinels up against OpTic, then OpTic versus FaZe. Clayster and Scump catching strays on the timeline. You just absolutely love to see it. Loads to dive into this morning. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hitting that like button is the best thing you can do. Top the channel reach new people, and please consider subscribing as well if you have not yet already. Firstly, just wanted to say, of course, we've been talking about some Halo stuff these last few days on the channel. Definitely it will make sense to do so right now. I definitely am going to plan, just because HGS Riley's been so good, to start a Halo channel on its own. I'll probably do that, I don't know, maybe in the coming days, maybe I'll just do it in the new year and enjoy a relatively relaxing Christmas. We shall see. Because right now we're doing 3 videos a day, 2 on this channel, 1 on the Valorant channel, and well, I definitely want to get into the Halo side because it's just too entertaining not to be honest, right now, especially when the CDL season kicks up into proper gear, and there's plenty to talk about on the CDL side on this channel. Like, I want to bring the Halo stuff elsewhere. But today, we definitely want to talk about it again because it was fantastic stuff. There's all sorts of crossover anyway between the Call of Duty side and the Halo side right now, so definitely, well, thought it was worth discussing, especially with FormaL and those guys getting back in business for this, well, proper MLG style event that we used to have in the COD scene a few years ago, that certainly made me miss that time and think, okay, well, Halo definitely seems more entertaining, at least right now, but of course when the CDL season kicks off, things are probably going to change. But yes, Frosty says, on to winners round 5, let's make it a good day today. You can see FormaL right here, no jersey, and well, if Royal 2 was in the Sentinel squad, would things have been different on their performances yesterday? We shall, of course, well, never know necessarily until future events, but well, yeah, incredibly, the bracket gods decided that Sentinels had to compete in the open bracket because Royal 2 got banned for that geofiltering thing that we talked about a few days ago. They bring FormaL into their team, and of course they match up with OpTic, right? So OpTic FormaL playing against OpTic on the main stage. Like, you can't make this stuff up. And it was honestly a remarkable series, frankly. Like, game 1, FormaL was kind of getting fried. I think the final game he played pretty well, and to be fair, a couple of the maps FormaL was looking like one of their best players, to be honest. But you know, who knows, things could have been different with Royal 2, it's tough to say. But this OpTic Halo team is just so overpowered, to be honest. And all, they win this game 1, Pistola was frying. Like, these guys have been around for so many years and just competing at such a high level. But it was just crazy to see FormaL up against these guys, to be honest, on the main stage, playing against effectively his own organisation. And well, OpTic go up 2-0 against Sentinels, as you can see. And this happened as well. Effectively, Clayster was catching some strays, because right here, one of the players, I'm not exactly sure who it was, just straight up fell off the map. And this is the thing, like the Clayster thing, if you guys are relatively new to the scene, I guess it really came in on Black Ops 3. I think it was the Black Ops 3 season, really, like 2015, 2016, when the Clayster falling off the map meme really became a reality. When he was just all over the place. Like, there was like Black Ops 3 Pro League times when I almost think he deliberately fell off the map at times. Just, well, of course, some of the times he didn't intend it. Some of the times I feel like he might have done, just to kind of, you know, throw it to the meme. And as he goes on to say here that, like, you know, I kind of lent into it because Golden Boy on the cast was basically saying, you know, like, shout out Clayster every time someone falls off the map, even in like other esports, like in CSGO and stuff. If someone falls off the map or something, I don't even know, yeah, like on Vertigo or something, if someone falls off the map in Counter-Strike, people will be like Clayster in the chat, or even they even might put 4 in 22 in the chat, because that was kind of the other pseudonym for Clayster when he went 4 in 22 on that Stronghold CTF back in Black Ops 3. If you guys are real OGs, you might remember that one. But yes, Clayster's, I leaned into it heavy. It's pretty cool to see my name mentioned in other games when it happens, etched into esports history. So indeed, pretty cool to see. And of course, well, FormaL goes on to get 3-0 here by the OpTic team. The crowd understandably electric, because this already was a nice rivalry before the tournament began, let alone having FormaL subbing in for that Sentinel squad. Of course, would things have been different, right, if Royal 2 had been in the team? Who knows? But I mean, yeah, like, this is just classic event stuff. Like, it's just great to see the original branding, do you know what I mean? Like, the actual OpTic Gaming branding itself, the Sentinels branding, the FaZe Clan branding, rather than kind of the city ties that, of course, are in the CDL. That has its benefits as well, but this just seems super old school, right, and really cool to see at the same time. So this also I found from 4runner.gg, stats for the series, if you guys are interested. I thought it was kind of interesting to look at, right? Like, I'm just looking at FormaL gets 44 and 57 over the course of it. Wasn't exactly the prettiest series from Lethal, for example. Lucid, this guy's completely nuts, like 71 and 39. He was also popping off in the later series against FaZe. So, I mean, yeah, this guy's ridiculous. The OpTic team just seems pretty OP right now, especially with Sentinels. Not, I suppose, at their full power with Royal 2, the roster that they practice with, but it's not like FormaL was performing badly, really, in the series that he played the last couple of days. As Hastro says, from the OpTic Envy side, bittersweet W over FormaL and the Sentinels crew. We know they can be stronger at full strength. Still happy the boys completed such a strong victory. So yeah, everyone jumping on the bandwagon here, and as FormaL says, damn GG's OpTic, they were gross. We begin our losers bracket run now, let's see what we can do. So it was kind of funny, really, at the Hex quarters a couple of days ago. They had all the OpTic Halo team practicing at the back of the room, and then FormaL was practicing with his new squad and Sentinels just in front of them. So it's kind of crazy what's been going on here the last several weeks, to be honest. And then, I mean, the bracket gods continue just to show, like, you know, what a great series they want to bring in, like, well, by matching OpTic up against FaZe. So FaZe won their series, and well, OpTic versus FaZe, like just a classic matchup, really. And this was was a really good series, to be honest. I think the FaZe put up a really good fight here. There was one map in particular, they made some crazy plays. I mean, that was just disgusting from Lucid, this type of movement that he managed to pull off here. And everyone was gassing him out, right? We had like a, Dashy and stuff on the tunnel saying, Lucid's absolutely gross. How does this guy do this type of stuff? So, yeah, just entertaining to watch these guys play. And what I really love, right, is that you go into Halo and you play the game. You play on exactly the maps and modes these pros are playing on, right? And it's just so many things like that like separate it from where Call of Duty is right now. But, of course, well, we'll talk about that towards the end of the video a little bit more, because certainly a lot of the Call of Duty guys were discussing what exactly needs to be done. This also from FaZe, they put on a crazy comeback right here to win this strongholds. And, that's the thing with strongholds. Like, it's not quite like domination, where one team can statistically basically have been victorious after a certain amount of time. You only get capture, you only get points if you hold 2 flags or more. So, it definitely gives opportunities for comebacks, no matter how far you are down. So, certainly I hope we don't get domination this year. I think we're going to be playing control, but who knows, right? I mean, back in the last Squad Spawns game, you know what we were playing already, and then OpTic close out the series 3-1 at the end. So it was a close fought affair, but they move on to the Championship Sunday. And of course, speaking of Championship Sunday, Scump had a few words to say on exactly what was happening on that front, right? Because as OpTic say, Championship Sunday, here we come, right? And it's been a while, really, since an OpTic team of this kind of caliber has just romped through a tournament all the way to the Championship Sunday without effectively losing a map. They lost the 1 map to FaZe. Outside of that, they 3-0'd their pools, 9-0 map count. They 3-0'd Sentinels, then they 3-1 FaZe. So they're looking pretty dominant so far. And, as Adam Apicella says here on the timeline, just heard from Hex that it's Championship whites for the first time in a while at Scump, he says. So that's the thing, like, back in the day, the OpTic guys also used to put on the Championship white jerseys. Now, they used to back in the Call of Duty days as well. No, of course, it has been quite a long time, really, I suppose, since the OpTic guys, as OpTic, have been on the main stage competing in a Championship Grand Final in a similar way, right? As Scump says, absolutely hilarious, and Hex tweets it out as well. Championship white jerseys about to be worn for the first time in a long, long time, and Scump's like, what do you even mean? Like, come on, catching strays here, and by telling me that I haven't been in too many tournament finals the last couple of years. But still, cool to see these brands back in business, really, and these last couple of months, certainly. But anyway, FormaL continuing on in the tournament in that lower bracket. GG's to G1, they played their 1-3-0, advance on to Sunday. So Sentinels and FormaL looking for their revenge. But just so many great storylines you get with these kind of open tournaments, right? Like FormaL and Co fighting their way through the open bracket, playing up against OpTic in that kind of second round of the winners bracket, and these other teams continuing on, all the big organization names there as well. It's really cool to see how things are going on that front. Just wanted to keep you guys up to date then on the Championship bracket, because the upper semis, OpTic will play Cloud9. This is a cracking matchup because Cloud9 is the Splice team that won the 2018 World Championship, but without Shotzi. So it's still a nasty squad. I'm pretty sure maybe one of the online tournaments, OpTic played Cloud9 in the finals, and it was a really close fought affair. This could be a great one. Pioneers, E-United on the lower side, and of course, a team is going to be victorious later on today. But did want to discuss this, that some of the Call of Duty guys were discussing, really, because I think a lot of people were really watching this Halo tourney and 10k. Like, what does Call of Duty need to do to get to this point where things are as entertaining as this Halo event has been the last couple of days? As Nadeshot says, many thoughts swirling around while watching this Halo kickoff tourney. So, this is kind of what he says. And honestly, if Nadeshot brings these thoughts through to the CDL, now look, whether they listen, whether the higher ups actually care or not, that's another question. But just if the owners are on the same page here, that certainly, the owners have paid a lot of money to get into this league. You would imagine the CDL and Activision's actually going to listen to them. Whether that's the case, who knows? But I think pretty much everyone agrees with what Nadeshot is saying here. Open bracket events are pivotal for an aspirational culture for amateur players. That's the great thing. It's been a thing in Halo and Call of Duty for so many years, right? If you're an amateur, young up-and-coming player, you can compete in these open tournaments and potentially win the entire thing. That's, of course, a really cool thing. You can't do that in a franchise league, of course. Now, that maybe hasn't been a huge detriment so far, but it has kind of gutted the entirety of the challenger scene, especially with Halo coming along, a load of the Call of Duty guys thinking, okay, should we go over there? 3 months between the release of Vanguard and the first major tournament in the CDL is one of the biggest mistakes imaginable. That's the thing. This Halo event came out this time last month, pretty much. There's now an event 1 month in. In theory, you could even bring the events closer to the launch than that. But that used to be the thing back in the day as well. For example, Black Ops 4, it came out, and pretty much every single Call of Duty used to have a December event. There was like a kickoff tourney in December, just a month and a half after the game released. CDL doesn't do that. They wait so long that everyone's just left Vanguard by the time the season even begins. This is like the major thing I think I wish they would just change for next season. Just bring the early tournaments back a little bit closer to release. Because it's so frustrating for the players and for the fans, I think. And well, as he says, competition needs to be a core pillar of development for the Call of Duty dev studios. A fair and balanced game through map design, weapons and equipment is the only way to bring players back to the franchise in the most competitive gaming market in industry history. A game can be fun for casual players and competitive players alike, but decisions internally need to index heavily towards competitive integrity. Consistency and balance breeds competition, and competition leads to love and affinity for the respective game title. And well, as it continues with, I think this was a particularly insightful one. Ranked playlists cannot be an afterthought in any FPS title. Ranked matchmaking should be the standard and default playlist for all players when logging onto the client in launch day. Like, that's kind of the thing that it is with other games. If you go into Halo, like, you're probably naturally going to find yourself in ranked, because that's when you play the game modes without the stupid, like, cars and the, you know, the vehicles and stuff that run around the map. And most games nowadays are like that. Of course, Call of Duty has never been like that. It's been a more casual focused game. I'm not sure this necessarily works quite yet for Call of Duty, but still, it's something they've got to be thinking about, given the way these other games have developed these last couple of years. And well, as Adam Apicella says, Matt, I said this months ago, CDL needs to launch within 2 weeks of the launch of the new game. It would be huge and at the height of the engagement curve. That's the thing, some of these online tournaments that Scump & Co are streaming 2 weeks into the game are doing really well in terms of viewership. The CDL just doesn't capitalize on that until like the start of February. It just doesn't really make any sense. And as well, Joe DeLuca says, Merc, of course, we don't know 100% if he's going to be a caster for next year, given Maven and Merc were kind of saying no, well, no official word on that front yet, right, in terms of contracts being signed. CDL teams get to play in August or September to build the maps and the rule set, which means a ranked player launch, certified by the pros, all spawn and map issues adjusted beforehand. Like, you know, of course, I'm sure this is wishful thinking, but it really shouldn't be, right? It should be super feasible. Of course, it never really seems to happen. As Dr. Disrespect says as well, like, he jumps into the mix. Let's put things into perspective. It's been 10 years since Black Ops 2 and League play. Like, that's kind of crazy, right? Like, I guess it is. 2022 next year, 2012 was the year that Black Ops 2 came out in, and I guess League play was launched at the same time. Maybe it didn't come out quite at release, but it was soon enough after that, you know, it's just kind of crazy to think how long ago that was, and where Call of Duty could have been 10 years down the line, and unfortunately where we seem to find ourselves today. And well, just to finish off with this, I thought it was kind of funny from Hex, right, because I think there was some sort of show match they were doing. As Method says, Streets are saying the scoreboard 10-1 and 18. He actually went 5 in 50, but yeah, Hex is pretty nasty on the sticks once again. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hitting the like button tells the YouTube gods this is a good video. Other people like you may enjoy it as well, and upgrade the competitive Call of Duty and Halo community. Thanks for watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.